What's up guys, Erasable Crab here. Welcome back to another Battles 2 video. This is part of the beginner mini-series. This is our 50 subscriber special. So we are going to be playing 1 hour of Bananza. I'm going to claim my free stuff real fast. Only 10 monkey money, not a big deal. Let's claim our daily reward, a banana farmer, that's helpful, and then our battle chest, or I guess our daily chest. So without further ado, let's hop right into Bananza. As you can see, I have no stars. I'm gonna try to end games a little bit quickly, but also have a good balance. If I have a good opportunity, I'll take it late. I'm going to be using Ezili as my hero. Just, simply because in Bananza you have all the towers, all the tiers, all the heroes unlocked. For the start, we're going to be using the best Bananza strategy in my opinion, other than the hero. So I just did a video on the best Bananza strategy, and if you see that, you'll see this strategy in it, just with Adora as the hero instead of Ezili. But I want to grind some Ezili XP, so that way, after we get 40,000 Ezili XP, we can get Smudge Cat, because Smudge Cat is a hero that I plan on using eventually in the beginner mini series. Let's go for our Dartling Gunner. I think right there is a decent spot. Ecoing with grouped reds, obviously it's Bananza, so you get double starting cash, double eco, all that. And we're just gonna be trying to defend a lot of stuff, rush our opponent if we get the opportunity for. I know typically in Bananza I like to go late game, but for this I want to try to get to 75 stars as soon as possible, because this is the beginner account, so the faster we go through it, the more monkey money we get without spending more time on it. So it'll be a very good way to show you guys how you should be playing the event for your first 75 stars. Then after, you can take it all a little bit slower and, enjoy it. Or you can just do whatever you want. Nothing says you have to do it the way I'm describing, but that's the way I prefer to do it. Just because, like on my main account, I don't mind going late game because I don't care if I get to 75 stars. But for the beginner mini series, I really think beginners should go through it as fast as possible so they can get the rewards. Just because having those rewards will help you unlock more towers, more heroes quicker than if you didn't. We are going to go for the Hydro Rocket Pods now. An unpopular opinion, but I actually like targeting my Dartling Gunners. I'm going to switch over to ecoing with group greens now. I will be switching up the strategies. For now, I'm going to start with this, then I might switch to like Tack Village Spike Factory or Tack Village Ice, something like that. Maybe Bomb Village Ice. Show you guys some different Bananza strategies and stuff that we wouldn't typically use on the beginner mini series, since we don't have some of the towers unlocked. I think we've only unlocked 2 towers other than the base ones. So it'll be a really good way for you guys to see how powerful some other strategies can be. Now with that said, I will not be switching over to grouped yellows. I want to keep my my eco a little bit slow, so that way we can afford mid-game defenses. And I'm sorry if you hear any background noise, but I'm I'm not going to be editing this video. It's going to be all uncut. Essentially as if it was live, but it's not going to be live. We're going to go for a 0-2-0 Super Monkey. If our opponent decides to send us purples on round 11, we should be fine with that. And we always have our level 3 ability on Ezili if we get overwhelmed by purples. But if we do, if they send it immediately, we almost have enough money where we can just go for a Robo Monkey, and that will for sure clean up all the purples that they'd send us if they were so going to choose that. But we're actually going to send them purples. I'm going to balloon boost it because like I said, I want to get the win as soon as possible if I can. So we are going to use our level 3 ability and we should be fine. We're going to switch over to going with grouped yellows now. And then after one more income boost, we'll go for this Robo Monkey. Obviously, our opponent survives that rush, so it's not worth it to try regen rainbows, I don't think. But I'm gonna try maybe layering some regen rainbows with some purples over top and see if that gets far enough to give us the win. Because that is a really good rush and the regens could get underneath the purples. But it does not look like that worked. But sometimes you gotta try just to see, you know, what's good and what's not. We are, however, going to get the bottom path upgrades on this Robo Monkey. Once you get the Tech Terror, it gains the ability to pop lead, so you don't need to go for the top path upgrades. Some people may argue the top path is a better cross path, but I disagree. Unless you have the village, then I'm personally think that the 042 and the 052 is going to be your best option. We're going to switch over to ecoing with group pinks now, just because we can. I'm going to use the alt trick, so that way I can take my hands off the keyboard and grab a drink real quick. So while we do have enough money for a Tech Terror, I actually want to prepare our Sun Temple. Thinking right here is going to be a decent spot. It's not the best. I could go more up here. I just don't want to sell this. You know, since I already put a decent amount of money into it. Let's put our ice there. Dartling Gunner here. And then I'm going to manually target it. Get that 024 on there. Target it to independent. That way it can hit multiple spots on the map at once. And then I'm gonna save up for this absolute 0 because you need 15,000 for max sacrificing on a Sun Temple. So with the absolute 0 upgrade alone being 18,000, that'll secure that for us. Plus we gained the ability here, which can just help slow down things in general. I'm gonna send a fortified ZOMG and see how they do against it. And then we're gonna start ecoing with purples. Now that we can. We're gonna prepare our sun avatars. I like cross-pathing with the bottom. I know the middle is technically better, but since we don't have any support towers without the bottom path, we want to be able to pop camo balloons. So that's the way I like to do it. You don't have to do it that way. If you have a way that works better for you, great, use that. If not, then you can follow along with what I'm doing and see if that works for you and you like that. Typically for beginners, I wouldn't recommend ecoing with purples. But since this is Bananza, you get enough cash where I actually can recommend it after you get about 4,000 to 5,000 eco. And again, this is on the beginner account, so you guys can play Bananza. Right now, that's the free game mode. So you don't need to have the club membership for it. You can play as many games as you want of Bananza right now. And you can get these rewards. And you'll have all the tier 5s available. You'll have all the heroes unlocked, all the hero alts unlocked. You will have everything unlocked just like I'm showing you here. This is not my main account. You can tell because my main account is Erasable Crab. This one has the YT tag instead of the crab at the end. So that's how you can tell this is the beginner account. Send 50,000 balloons at your opponent. Just earned an accolade. That's nice. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and sell that now. We've got enough defenses. So we're still just waiting for a few more income boosts before we can go for the Sun Temple. I'm using Ezili as my hero because I want to grind XP for her. Let's get this Sun Temple out now. And then let's put, I'm thinking the ice up here, the Dartling Gunner here, and the next Super Monkey here. Again, this will be a 302 Sun Avatar. This will be a 024 Balloon Area Denial System. This will be a 250 Absolute Zero. And that's the way I do all my temples with this strategy. Typically we'd have Adora as our hero, so we'd eventually upgrade this to a Rocket Storm, then Blood Sacrifice to give Adora levels. But since we're using Ezili, we don't have that option, and we don't need to do that. So it'll actually save us a little bit of money in the long run by not buying this Rocket Storm upgrade. We have enough money to get the Absolute Zero now, so we're going to prepare that. Still just ecoing with purples. I wouldn't recommend anything above purples. You can eco with these, like hyperdense leads, I guess they're called. And while those are very good, I just don't like them because they're so slow. But they are technically better than purples, but they do cost a lot more, so I prefer going with purples, and that's what I suggest you guys do too. So you'll still build up enough money where you'll be able to go super late in Bananza. Right now we're just, letting the eco pile in. We need 200,000 for the True Sun God. Did I ever target this? I did not. Let me target that to Independent. I was wondering why it was a little bit weird. It doesn't really matter too much. But I think the True Sun God in this spot is going to be decent. Typically, I'd like it more towards the middle, but I didn't want to sell the Robo Monkey off at the time because it was pretty much our only defense against purples, and I didn't want to make a stupid mistake and die. But when this video goes up, there will be it'll be a premiere, so you guys will be able to chat with me. I can answer questions, any questions that you guys have. And you can tell that this is a max sacrificed True Sun God because it has the Superstorm, it has these planes, and then it has these sun avatars as well. If you didn't get max sacrificing, you won't have one of those. I think the little flying planes, I don't think you get those if you don't have max sacrificing on your temple. Right back here, I'm thinking, will be our Icicle Impale. We'll go for the 205 because I do believe that is the best cross path. And again, with the top path, you gain the ability to pop camos. So that'll be very helpful against DDTs. But we also have the Superstorm, which is good against DDTs. Let's go for MAD right now. Then I'm thinking right here, we can set the target here maybe. And then we can work on getting the Ray of Doom. It does look like it will go past this little obstacle. Gonna try aiming it just a little bit higher, see if that helps. That looks like it helped. But let's go for the Ray of Doom right now. Oh, actually it is not getting past that obstacle. There we go, that's better. I think it'll still hit anything here because the hitbox is big enough where it can still hit it. Ezili's level 16. The next thing I want to work on is our balloon exclusion zone. I'm going to have that down here. And I like going for the 025. I think the 205 is technically better because it can pop lead balloons, I think, with the laser shock upgrade. But again, we want to have camo detection, so I always go the 025 route. We are going to prepare our anti-balloon here. Just gotta wait for another income boost to actually be able to afford it. But yeah, this is gonna be an hour-long video, so I want to get, you know, multiple games into it. I don't want to take every game and make it like 20 minutes long, but sometimes like I said before, I can't control everything that happens, so we're gonna go for the Legend of the Night, then we're gonna save up and rush our opponent with fortified BADs. Because I really don't think that they'll be able to fully defend them with their current setup. I don't think we'd be able to survive a ton of them, but I think we'd at least be able to defend a couple. So let's go for the Legend of the Night right now. We could always go for the Absolute Zero, freeze the water, but you can put super monkeys and stuff on it when you freeze the water. We will go for the Absolute Zero, but we're not going to put any super monkeys on them. Just because we're going to be rushing our opponent. I'm thinking like around 42, 43-ish. So it's not going to be worth it to spend any money on our defenses at this point. So I am going to stop ecoing. I'm going to try to get 26,000. 26,003 isn't bad. We only have 5 balloon bots, so I'm not going to use those to send fortified BADs. If this was my main account, I have like almost 300, I think, so I don't mind using them on that. But they're a lot more valuable when you only have a few of them. With that said, with the monkey money you gain, though, you could always get them back. But I personally think that if you're just starting out, you should only spend monkey money on towers for now. After you get the towers unlocked, or any heroes that you look and see and say, oh, that's good, and you know that you'd use them, you can buy them. But that's just my recommendation. You don't have to do it that way, obviously. I am, however, going to rush our opponent now with fortified BADs. I am going to balloon boost them. And I think there's just going to be too many of them for our opponent to handle. We should be fine to all of these DDTs. I'm gonna set my Ice Calling Pal to strong. That slowed down everything. And we were able to fully defend. Yeah, I don't think our opponent's surviving that, so maybe they'll try to rush us with something else. They're doing a lot of damage. It's just there's so many of them that even if they did pop them down, it would be hard to pop all of the insides. That is a win under our belt, however, and that's 3 stars, so as long as you don't leak any lives or anything, and you go to like the mid-game rounds, I'm pretty sure, you can hang on just a second. You'll still get 3 stars. We can afford the Monkey Village, Banana Farm, Spike Factory, Engineer. Not gonna buy anything right now. I'll have to think about... Actually, no, I'll buy the farm. Because I plan on doing a strategy with the farm. But let's get right back to Bananza. But as I was saying, once you get to the mid-game rounds, if you win, I think you get 3 stars anyway. So you don't need to worry about going late game just to get those 3 stars. Sometimes you can't control it, sometimes you can. Koru's not a great map. We're going to be using the same strategy as last game, and then next game I'll switch it up. Obviously, we'll keep the same hero, however. But I really think with this map, we'll be able to end the game early. I'm hoping like round 11 and round 13 is when we can end. For this game, however, since we're on this map, I am going to start off with the Dartling Gunner, and then I'll work my way on getting Ezili right here at the front of the map. They're going to be starting off with a Super Monkey, not really the greatest option, but it may work out for them. We'll get the 1-2-0. Just put down Gwendolyn on their side. So, I mean, I think they'll be fine, but there's still a chance during the mid-game rounds that we'd be able to win if they don't go for the right upgrades. For example, if they go for a 204, or not a 204, a 203 Dark Champion, that will not be able to pop purples for them. So, it just depends on what they go for. If they can pop purples, then we might get the win. You know, if they can't pop purples, we might get the win off of purples on round 11. But if they can, then we're probably going to have to take this game later. Now, this is just part of the beginner mini-series, so I can essentially use it as an excuse to grind some XP on here, and I think that's what a beginner should do anyway. So, it is kind of a guide. Obviously, you don't have to do this, it's all optional. On your account, you can do whatever you want. But, you know, I figured I'd just play these games and hang out for a bit, see what you guys think, see if you guys have any questions. I'll keep up as best I can during the premiere. And, you know, I'm not sure how many people we're gonna have for the premiere, so it might just be a few, and then we could always, you know, ask some basic questions and be able to answer everybody. And that's what I'd prefer if possible, but if we get more people than that, then I'm not gonna complain either. Now, we're ecoing a little bit more aggressively this time because we want to get a lot of money before round 11. That way we can afford purple defenses. But at the same time, I don't want to tell my opponent what to do by, you know, placing the Robo Monkey. But who knows, maybe they'll go for the Robo Monkey with the top cross path, and then they won't be able to pop purples. We're going to go back to going with grouped blues for now, though. And we're going to start preparing our Super Monkey. I'm going to place it right there. Another way you can tell this isn't my main account, I don't have any names for my Dartling Gunner, my Super Monkey. I don't think I have names for my Super Monkey on my main account either, but that's, you know, just one way to tell. Let's send purples right now. Can't even really tell if they're sending us purples or not, but if we send constant purples, they'll struggle a little bit. I think we'll be fine to that. They got that sniper over there, so that's going to be able to pop purples for them. So we're going to have to take this game a little bit late if I can't regen... if I can't layer a regen Rainbow Rush with some purples over top. Which I am going to try right after we get our next income boost. Gonna send a lot of regen rainbows and then purples all over top and balloon boost them. Now, that's a layered rush, so it's gonna make it harder to pop. But with a tower boost, I think they'll be fine. I'm not mad that I essentially wasted a balloon boost, but you know, sometimes you gotta be aggressive, other times it's better not to be. I think in this game it's not gonna be worth it for us to go for a temple. So I'm not gonna prepare a temple whatsoever, but I will get a tech terror. I think that's going to be our best defense option. But before we go for that, we also want a 204 Dark Champion, because that'll be able to pop all the purples in the world for us. But it's a little bit expensive. I think it's like a $27,000 upgrade. They're gonna send us Moab, we'll be fine. Let's get the Dark Knight on that. And then now we play the waiting game of just waiting to get enough eco to be able to afford the upgrades we want to. I don't like to see the sniper just because it's a very good stalling tower for non-BAD Moab class balloons. But obviously you can't control what our opponent picks. So we'll just have to make it work. And sometimes that's all you gotta do in this game. Make your strategy work better than your opponent's. Let's go for that Dark Champion now. That'll be able to defend a lot of stuff for us for a while. Plus, as you can see, it's got a pretty decent range. See, I think our opponent is trying to get me to rush them, but I'm smarter than that. I'm not going to rush them just because they're emoting at me. They're going to send a BFB, I'm going to be fine to that. Fortified, fine to that too. Gonna go for a tech terror now. As you guys can see, we're defending just fine. I am, however, gonna send a ZOMG just because I'm curious how they'll do, or curious what upgrades they'll send with it. I'm gonna send purples underneath just because I'm gonna eco with purples now. Might help, might not. But as you guys can see, the sniper is able to stall that a lot. Plus they have the sticky bomb, so that's able to stall it. We did get them to use Gwendolyn's level 3 and 10 ability though. So that's nice because we could always re-rush them and then they won't have those as an option. But just look at the sheer stalling power of their strategy. With that ZOMG, it just keeps it in place. That kind of brings back some memories for me from Battles 2 Season 1 when Dartling Ninja Sniper was the meta strategy, because Dartling was glitched, so it would defend everything up until Moab class wounds. And then the Ninja could stall and the Sniper could stall, and both were pretty decent once you got their tier 5s. So that was like the first meta strategy in Battles 2. We're gonna go for another Dark Champion just to help us out a little bit. Then on around 30, I'll probably send them a BAD. I think this map is short enough where if we send it first, we'll be able to get the win. And maybe by then, too, we'll have enough money to be able to go for Legend of Night, which will allow us to leak Fortified BAD and be completely fine, as long as we don't pop it down. But yeah, we're about halfway through now. DDTs aren't going to be able to really affect us too much. If they sent a lot, then yes. But I want to send them one. Because again, I'm curious how their defenses will be. They annihilated it. I'm going to actually eco now instead of just using the alt trick. All we have to do is tech terror that. I was gonna prepare a second tech terror anyways. And next round we're gonna send an unfortified BAD as soon as it's an option. So I'm just kind of waiting right now for it to pop up. I thought the round was almost over, but I guess I was wrong. It's hard to tell on this map with all our towers being at the front. There we go, let's go for that right now. And we do have enough money to get Legend of the Night, so we'll go ahead and get that. We could go for the defend, but what we can also do is let's use one of our tech terror abilities. It was this one. Then we can sell this, use the money to upgrade Ezili to level 20, and then use Moab Hex. And that'll pop the BAD instantly and not have to deal with any insides. Now, our opponent did fine to that typical BAD, but I think if we do a fortified one, they'll struggle a lot. So I want to save up 60k and send them 2 fortified BADs. We did force them to use a tower boost though, so it was a good rush. But you can see I'm still ecoing, even though I want to save up. That's the way you really should do it. But if you've seen my earlier videos, sometimes I would stop. Sometimes it's worth it to stop, other times it's not. But we're going to send 2 fortified BADs, and we're going to balloon boost them, make them go a little bit faster. Because I think the way they have their tower set up, it'll do more damage to the first one. And then we can prepare another Dark Champion back here, just in case our opponent decides to send us some DDTs. We should be fine with that. And even if not, we have the Tech Terror if anything gets too close. It's gonna be close if they pop that second one. I don't know if they have Legend of the Night or not. It looks like they leaked, they might not. This is gonna be really, really close. They're either just barely gonna defend it, or they're just barely gonna not. I think one of those BFBs leaked, but it's hard to tell. It looks like they were able to fully defend. It's very difficult to tell with the sniper, as you can see. But we're simply just gonna wait till round 40 and do the exact same thing. Except we're gonna send as many BADs as possible. This might just be a 3-game video if these rushes don't go the way I want it to. I do think we should get the anti-balloon though, just to make our defenses a little bit better. And that'll be able to handle a lot of stuff. Anti-balloon's pretty dang good. We might be able to lag out our opponent because they do have a yellow connection bar. But that's not always the most accurate. Because I've had games where I've had perfect connection and it's like, oh, your connection is bad. And then it'll disconnect me after a while. But that hasn't happened in a while. I think it was a bug. So yeah, we're just gonna keep going with this, and this will be an hour-long video, but we might go over an hour because I am gonna finish the game once we get to the hour mark, and obviously do the outro and all that. But let's go for an all-out rush. We're gonna have some DDTs over top of it. They probably won't do much, but you never know. It might be late enough where they did. And actually, one of them did get through, so that is well worth it. Say good game. I didn't even use the ice in that whole match. Dang. Now I just gotta wait to get my season points. Battle ready quest, unlock a new monkey, we got that. Play 3 games, get Quincy to level 7 during a game. We will not be doing that in this video, but maybe the next one. We're gonna skip Neo Highway, I hate that map. Up on the Roof isn't bad. And I am going to change my strategy. This guy is a 3-time Hall of Masters player, probably more than that. So this should be a fun challenge, because maybe they'll be surprised with somebody with a yellow stadium badge doing decent, but maybe that's a normal thing in these event modes. But either way, we're going to have an interesting strategy. Attack Village Spike Factory with Gwendolyn is one of my favorite strategies. I've been using it since Season 1. And it's actually very, very good. Is there a learning curve to it? A little bit, because you have to know how to effectively use the Spike Factory. But other than that, it's just pretty standard. Going to have my tack shooter back here. And then get to going with these grouped reds. Get that even faster shooting upgrade. Obviously, some balloons are going to get past Gwendolyn. We mainly have her up there just to do some initial damage, and I'm actually going to set her to last. I think she might do a little bit better set on last. But it's been 40 minutes, so we got 20 more minutes we can play, so that's like a game if it goes late. Maybe a few if we can end it mid-game. But with the Dartling Gunner as their first tower and a village, I think they're going to be pretty decently equipped during the mid-game rounds to defend common mid-game rushes. Let's go for that overdrive. They just placed Bonnie down on their side. They have pretty minimal defenses, but I think they can get away with it just because this map is long enough. But who knows, maybe they'll leak a few lives. These group blues are kind of building up on their side. I don't think it's worth a balloon boost though. They're gonna leak a lot of lives, but even if we did boost, that wouldn't have been enough to get the win. So in my opinion, it was not worth a balloon boost. We are, however, going to get another 203 tack sprayer. And eventually that'll become a second overdrive. We just need to get the money for it. There we go. Whilst we don't have to, I am going to clear this obstacle. And then Gwendolyn's level 3 ability, I'm going to target it right here. They got the powerful dart, so it's not worth it to send any spaced eco at them and try to get them to leak that way. I never realized, but this map is actually a lot more difficult for beginners than I thought. So if you can, try to stay away from it, just because you know, the tack shooter isn't the best. Like, even with these 2 overdrives, it seems like we're struggling a lot. But maybe it just looks that way because we have Gwendolyn